What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another loose graded vintage Kenner Star Wars market update. And the story of loose graded figures and its death and destruction and prices are dropping like rocks. Well, I would say that in general that has been a little bit premature because some of the sales prices that I'm going to show you were a little bit higher than I expected. Some of them did come in lower, but there were a few in this batch that really surprised me. I'm filming this Sunday, November 26th, right after a number of really awesome items sold from Collectibles Investment Brokerage, which obviously is affiliated with AFA. We cover their items all the time. I got 4 items here in this thumbnail, but there were a bunch of others. We're going to start off with some UKG graded items, and then we'll segue that into the items that just ended about 10 minutes ago. I wanted to kind of knock this video out because I've had kind of a crazy work week. So let's go ahead and dig in. All right, so first we're going to start off with is a Snags, Red Snags, AFA 85. This sold a few days ago, 11/16. New case style. And I was thinking, I might have actually shown this in a what to buy video a few weeks back. And I was thinking it might go for cheap because the photos were not great. Really, you just had these 2 photos that were not particularly great. It was an AFA 85 Hong Kong, standard Hong Kong. It still sold for $227.50. So further proof that red snags are starting to get really, really expensive. I mean, you know, for the longest time I was thinking, 150, 175, but it seems like consistently, even on auctions where the photos are not great for the listing, the prices are still above $200, so $227.50. And then here I've got a few items from Cashel Retro Trader, which is based in the UK. They always have a really nice selection of UKG graded items. And I sent a lot of these to my Patreon supporters in Buy It Now alerts, and most of them did sell to Patreon. So, but anyway, I wanted to compare this one. This is the Hong Kong that was AFA 85. This is the Spanish PBP Scar COO version of Red Snags. And the figure was a 90 paint 85. So probably pretty comparable to an AFA 85. Admittedly, not apples to apples, given that one's a Hong Kong. This is the more desirable, in my opinion, Spanish PBP. But, you know, Cashel Retro Trader had this for sale for 135 pounds, which is 170 US dollars plus shipping. So even accounting for the shipping costs, I mean, you're still talking less than an AFA 85 Hong Kong. So I do feel like UKG 85's new case style, a lot of these Spanish figures that don't really get graded by AFA that much. I mean, Red Snags is maybe a little bit of an exception because they did appear on US made in Spain cards. All the Cantina creatures did. But I just think in general that a lot of people discount UKG graded items, at least here in the US buyers. And I wouldn't. I still think that they have the best loose graded case on the market right now. And there are some good deals out there, even accounting for the shipping to the U.S. So I thought that was a particularly good deal. This was the other one I had. I think I had this in my what to buy video. It sold very quickly thereafter. That's the Spanish PBP Han Solo Hoth. This was the pink face version. As you can see, very pink face on him. There is a pale face with a darker purple jacket that's also available. This was graded UKG 80%, no COO Scar, Spanish PBP. And that one was for sale and buy it now for 135 pounds, which is 170 US dollars. And as a reminder, CIB had one that was AFA graded that sold for, I think, over $400 if memory. It was a crazy number. I don't remember. I remember bidding on it, but I don't remember what my bid was. So maybe I'm misremembering the number, but I remember it being quite a bit higher than this one that sold for 170 US. Next up, he also had a Spanish PBP Imperial Commander, graded UKG 85%, a little more common, but it's harder to find this one in an 85 because of the hat. The hat, you know, kind of sticks out like that, and the paint on the Spanish PVP figures are really, really crappy. They don't apply the paint really well, so they can come off really easily on the figure. You can actually run your finger on some figures, on some Spanish figures, and it'll come off on your hand. That's how tacky it is on some of them. And the same thing can be said for like the Regresso Lily Letty Yoda. The paint is like sticky and gummy. So certain figures are just tougher to get in an 85, and this is one of them because of that hat. That hat always has wear on the Spanish version. And he also has very red hair. That's another telltale for the Spanish Imperial Commander. It's kind of a lighter brown hair. for the Spanish figure. That one sold for 182 US dollars, a pretty good deal there, I think, and certainly a pretty figure inside that case. That's a nice example. This is the one I really wanted. I almost bought it. I don't know why I didn't, but I just wanted to give you guys a chance at it. I sent this one out, I think, in the what to buy as well as to my Patreons. It was a no emblem, no chest emblem, UKG 80%, no COO as well, which is a little tougher to find. I mean, the Death Squad Commander did not appear on Tri-Logos unless it's like a miscard. So you really had to get the no COO. It's really on Palatoys, to my knowledge. Palatoy card backs. So it's a little tougher to track the no COO down for the Death Squad Commander. And it was only 85 pounds, which I thought was a good deal given that it was completely missing the chest emblem. And I'm a little surprised they didn't put that on the label there. They usually do label kind of the errors and things like that on the UKG labels. But I thought that was another good deal. A few others that sold at auction. Here was a Lily Letty Stormtrooper UKG 80. I think this is a resale. It was for sale, I think, from one of the bigger guys that we always know, and then it quickly got relisted from a different seller. That one did sell for 215 pounds, which is 271 US dollars. That might be a little high, not terribly so, but I've seen them go for less in a UKG 80%. Next up was the Spanish POC Obi-Wan, and this one's got that sticker on there. And again, I don't know if this was a resale or not. It looks very similar to one that sold very recently. That one sold for 125 pounds, which is 157 US dollars. Now, it's only a 75, but it's tough to find the Spanish POC Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's just one of those tricky ones to find. Nice looking figure, though, and a very fair price on that one. I would have paid that all day long. Here's one that the Blacked Out Ewoks, a fellow YouTuber and a good buddy of mine, he sent this one to me in case I wanted to bid on it, and I should have now looking back at it. It's a UKG 85% no COO Bosk. So these appeared on Tri-Logos and on Palatoy cards, but very tough to track down loose graded and high grade. And this one was a beauty. It was a really nice condition, new case style, and it sold in an auction for 65 pounds, which is 81 bucks. Now it says it may not ship to the US. I could have shipped it to like BOE or to Tim, Boss Bounty, but I just thought that was a really good deal, especially if you were in the UK. It's probably another, 10 pounds or so or less to ship it. So very good deal on that one, but that's one I still need. I've got 3 different Cloud Car pilots that sold that I wanted to show you. The first one is a UKG 85% Cloud Car pilot. All of them are Hong Kong COOs. This one was listed from the same seller, Cashel Retro Trader, for about 150 pounds, which is 187 US dollars, but it sold for less than that. I didn't look up the sales price on it, but that's a pretty good one. But here's an AFA 85 old case, and I wanted to show you the sales price of this one versus an AFA 85 new case. So this is the old case, Hong Kong 85 grade. That sold for $131.50 plus $6 shipping. And then here, we're going to start off now with the CIB items. Here's the new case. That one sold for $177.50, which I thought was a really good deal. That's the cheapest I've seen for an AFA 85 new case style Cloud Car pilot in a while. They're usually $225 plus, honestly more like $275 plus. So that's kind of a newer low. But there are a lot of items in this CIB batch that came in higher than expected, but that was not one of them. That was a really good deal in my mind. Here is the Purple Stitch Jawa AFA 85. I thought that was a really good deal. That was a very vibrant purple stitch on that one. Look how pretty that purple is on it. But, it's not super tough to track this one down, but it's harder to find than, the standard light brown or dark brown stitch. The black stitch is easily probably one of the rarest in terms of the stitch colors. I've seen rust. I've seen multicolored, differences between the sleeves and the hem. So there's all kinds of different stitch colors, but this is one of the kind of mid-grade ones in terms of difficulty, and the price reflected that. It sold for $366 in an auction on 30 bids. About right. That's, I've seen them sell for higher than that, but I think that's pretty fair. Next up was an AFA 85 large head Han Solo. Pretty nice example there. And that one sold for $192, which I thought was a good deal. Pretty good deal there. Now, the small head Han, that's the one that tends to go for a lot more money. I still don't have one of those. I need to grab one maybe next year when I start action figure hunting again. I've been on a hiatus here lately, but really nice looking figure at $192. Here's the no COO brown hair Luke AFA 85, and it sold for 530, which I thought was a really good deal. That's quite a bit lower than where this one usually tracks in an AFA 85, usually like 600 to 650. So, you know, pretty common one, not hard to find. These appeared on Tri-Logos and on the Palatoy cards. It's kind of a lighter brown hair, obviously not as hard to find as the dark brown hair, which we've talked about ad nauseum on the videos. But 530 is kind of a fairly low price, really, especially for CIB. Usually CIB gets pretty high prices on a lot of their stuff, but that was, I think, a little bit below market. I was thinking kind of 600 to 650. Here's the big one, though. This one came in way higher than I expected, and I'm not really sure why. It's the light blue painted head Taiwan Boba Fett. I know it's an expensive figure, but and I know that this price of $13.24 is still way down from the highs. There was one that sold last year, believe it or not, same grade, for almost $1,900, which is insane. But that was the market back then. But lately they've been kind of between $700 and $900. You know, maybe 900. I think an AFA 80 plus sold in the 700 range. Don't quote me on that. But I know I saw an AFA 85 that sold for in the nines. So, you know, this one definitely went a little higher than I expected at $13.24. But still, even at that price, it's still well down versus the highs last year. But that was a shocker. I think in my what to buy video, I said you could probably expect to pay 7 to 9, somewhere in there. So again, I was wrong, which is very common. Next up was an AFA 80 Han Solo Carbonite. That one sold for $230, which is interesting because, you know, I've seen a few AFA 85s sell for not much more than that, like $250-ish here recently. So I was a little surprised that one went that high. I was thinking maybe max $200, but, you know, I guess loose and in good shape, they can go for almost $200. So that's not a terrible overpay at $230, but I have seen a few AFA 85s go for just slightly above that price. Next up, this is another one where I am just dumbfounded by the final sales price. This is admittedly a tough to find figure. This is the South American glass slate version of Chewbacca. He comes with the Zuckuss long rifle instead of the bowcaster, and it's a very specific COO. It's a no COO figure, but you know, I had a few buddies reach out about this one, and I was thinking 400 to 450, which is where the last few have sold, if memory serves. But this one had an older case style as well, and it still sold at $600. So a little surprised it went that high, but, you know, it is what it is. That's just the market. It was admittedly an AFA 85, but it definitely came in higher than I expected. I was thinking 400 to 450. So just can't read the market right now. Another one that's down, another one that's really come down a little bit is Yak Face. We've seen some loose ungraded examples sell for almost $600, believe it or not, in some of my loose complete videos. This one was an AFA 85 new case style, and it sold for $759, and that's the lowest price I've seen for an AFA 85 in a while. I mean, they've been hovering between $900 and $1,100 consistently. You might get lucky and get it around $850, but $759 is definitely a new low, and maybe just people are just getting tired of them. I mean, I feel like every week there is another loose graded Yak Face hitting the market, and people are starting to maybe realize these are not grails. Okay, they're out there. There are a lot of them out there. It's still an expensive figure, don't get me wrong, but I was just surprised that with CIB selling and they ship worldwide, that this one did not go higher than that. So $759 on Yak Face, and I've got two examples, both of them UKG 75%, and both of them included the magazine custom displayed. So interesting. This is the one that just sold tonight. This is a UKG 75 YPS Stormtrooper. We talked about that in the what to buy video. It was like a baggie with this magazine, and then the figure was inside the baggie with the magazine. So it's a unique weapon that comes with it. It's kind of a bullpup AK-47 style weapon, but it is the Spanish no COO SCAR version of the Imperial Stormtrooper. And this one again was a 75. It sold in an auction for $827. And then here's one that sold on 11/13. And this one is a different example, but it did include, I think, the bullpup. You know, these photos are not very good, but I think it does have the bullpup style weapon there. Yeah, right there. I don't think that's the long rifle. That looks like the bullpup, but these photos did not do it any favors on the auction. So maybe part of the reason why it sold so low. But it sold for $711. That one was in Hungary as well, which can maybe give some bidders pause versus here in the U.S. Knowing that CIB is affiliated with it, you're probably going to get a slightly higher price. So I think the bad photos, the fact that it was in Hungary versus this one that was in the U.S. with really good photos, probably played a factor in terms of that price difference. But that one in Hungary did sell in an auction on November 13th for $711 plus $45 shipping. So actually pretty close for both of those. I've seen some UKG 85s for this particular setup go for well over $1,100-1,200. So given that this one was a 75, just like the one that sold tonight, $711 and $827 were the two sales prices. So anyway, I just wanted to put together a quick loose graded video for you guys. I'm not sure what my schedule looks like this week, so I wanted to at least get a couple of videos done with the hopes of having a what to buy video later this week as well. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll be back soon.